guys? Bo here. During the October event in Brooklyn, New York, Apple announced the long overdue Mac Mini and the MacBook Air updates. But the most exciting news is completely redesigned iPad Pro. Now, personally, my last iPad was the original iPad Air 5 years ago. Yep, you heard that right, 5 years ago. Truth be told, the whole iPad has been getting a little bit stale for the past few years, but all that changed with the new 2018 iPad Pro. This is the biggest change to iPad since the launch of the original iPad. But before we dive in, let's get it unboxed. This is the 12.9 version in Space Gray. Apple must hate all the unboxing knives because they made a pull tab so you don't even need one anymore. Alright, let's set the iPad aside and see what else we got here. Big ass Apple stickers alert. If you have ever seen anyone with these stickers on their Apple products, do me a favor, let me know down in the comments, or better yet, tweet me a picture. Underneath that, we have USB-C. Finally, Apple got rid of the Lightning connector. Although late to the game, but better late than never. Apple completely redesigned the iPad Pro, but it's still recognizable as an iPad. The most notable absence is, of course, the Touch ID home button. Like the rest of the 2018 iPhones, the new iPad Pro is all Face ID. When you pick up the iPad, it doesn't really matter which way you're holding, whether it's landscape or even upside down. The true depth camera will be able to read your face. In the event that your hand is blocking the sensors, it'll even show you a message letting you know. I also noticed that Face ID works even when the iPad is laying flat and I'm looking at it from an extreme angle, whereas my iPhone X wouldn't be able to see my face at all. I'm not sure if it's because of the size of the iPad that Apple's able to cram bigger sensors in there, but there's definitely been some improvements. Since there's no more home button, Apple is able to shrink the bezels down by a lot. I mean, I wouldn't exactly call it edge to edge, but the bezels are just small enough to give you an edge to hold. Since the bezels are so much smaller than previous generation, this iPad is actually smaller than the outgoing 12.9 inch, which makes holding the new version much less unwieldy. Like the new Series 4 Apple Watch, the corners are now rounded to match the edges of the iPad. It has the same panel as last year's iPad Pro, but it's an excellent one. 600 nits of brightness, P3 color gamut, True Tone, and Pro Motion, which is really just Apple speak for super fast screen refresh rate that makes everything look ultra fast and buttery smooth. It's not something that you can see on the YouTube, but you just gotta see it in person and experience it. You also get two sets of speakers on either side for true stereo, and they not only sound great, but surprisingly rich and full, not the teeny sound you usually get from super thin devices. Oh, it's also got 5 microphones. You know, make sure that when you FaceTime with 32 of your closest friends, they'll all hear you loud and clear. Another thing you might notice that isn't here is the headphone jack. Not really surprised seeing how most modern smartphones have already ditched it, so it's only a matter of time before it trickled down to the iPad Pro. This puppy is fast. It's got the A12X Bionic chip with a total of 8 CPU cores and 4 GPU cores doing all the heavy lifting, meaning it'll pretty much chew through anything you throw at it without dropping a sweat. So how fast is the A12X? For starters, Geekbench puts the iPad Pro's single-core score on par with the 2018 6-core i7 MacBook Pro. And if you think that's shocking, its multi-core score is only about 3,000 less. Color me impressed. Apple even went so far as to claim it's faster than 92% of laptops out there. So clearly they're positioning this as a laptop replacement. It still has a gorgeous liquid retina display that's 2732 by 2048 at 264 pixels per inch. Plus the IPS panel for great viewing angles. Thankfully, this iPad Pro escaped the notch, so you have your 7-megapixel front cam that can also record 1080p videos, and 12-megapixel on the back for when you want to, you know, be that guy or girl that whips out the John tablet for street photography. Before you plunk down your hard-earned cash, is it for you? Well, that depends. If most of the things that you do on a tablet are really just watching videos, movies, surfing the web, and reading emails, I would stick to the non-Pro iPads. Although the specs are a bit dated, it's plenty powerful just for media consumption and web surfing. But if you're a content creator, whether it's photography, videography, music, art, there really is nothing like it on the market right now. With the right app, you can really just create about anything. Which leads me to my next point. The weakest link on the new iPad Pro is actually iOS. Now, I'm not going to get into the whole we need macOS on the iPad argument because that in itself could be a 5-hour video. But in order for this to be a true laptop replacement, I do think that the new iPad Pro, as powerful as it is, needs a different OS with a true file system. You know, more powerful than iOS, but more touch-friendly than macOS. Maybe a hybrid of some sort. So as of right now, there really aren't any apps out there taking full advantage of the ridiculous hardware. So think of it like this. If you just drop some serious cash on an exotic sports car of your choice, how would you feel if you're strictly limited to driving during rush hour traffic only? Apple gave the iPad Pro some exclusive iOS features like more icons on the dock, multitasking with 2 apps, connect to an external monitor. I mean, it's a step in the right direction, but it's not enough to replace a proper computer. So if you feel the iPad Pro is for you, then most likely you're going to want to pick up a couple of what I consider essential accessories. The Apple Pencil 2.0 and the new updated Apple Smart Folio keyboard. Although I've never used a first-gen Apple Pencil, but just judging from the way it charges by like plugging into the bottom of the iPad, I mean, come on, I thought the Magic Mouse 2 charging port was a horrible design, but this really takes a cake. Thankfully, Apple went back to the drawing board. It still looks similar to the first gen, but now it attaches to the iPad Pro magnetically to pair and charge, so you never have to worry about losing it. And it's pretty damn strong. It feels really good in the hand, and it has just enough weight to feel light, but substantial. You can even double tap to do things like undo, eraser, changing tools. I've been using it to write notes in some simple drawings, and it's virtually lag-free. It just feels really natural. I mean, this is something I've been waiting for since the original iPad, and I'm super pumped the tech is finally caught up. There is one caveat though. So if you're thinking about picking up the new Apple Pencil to use with your previous gen iPad Pro, you're SOL. It's not backwards compatible. And also, if you have the last gen Apple Pencil, if you're planning on using it with the new iPad Pro, think again. The new Pencil only works with the new iPad Pro. If you're gonna get any work done that doesn't involve drawing, you're gonna need a proper keyboard, and I don't mean the on-screen keyboard. Thankfully, there's a new Smart Folio keyboard to go along with the new iPad Pro. It kind of looks like the Smart Folio cover, but with a keyboard built in. I was really surprised at just how much key travel there is on something as small as this, and it just feels really solid. I actually prefer it to my MacBook Pro keyboard. There is a slight texture on each key as opposed to the smooth finish on the MacBook keyboards. New to this year are 2 positions for your iPad. Upright for when you're at a desk, or something less steep for when it's on your lap. I do wish there were more choices, but they're certainly not deal breakers. The magnets are really strong, and when you have the iPad in it, it feels like one solid piece. This is the fastest and most powerful iPad Apple has ever made, and in my opinion, the best looking tablet on the market. But iOS is really holding him back from reaching its full potential. And if Apple spent as much time on developing a more powerful iPad-specific OS as it does on its hardware, there's no reason why people won't ditch their laptop for iPad Pros. If you like this video, hit that thumbs up. If you want to see more videos like this, all you gotta do is make sure to subscribe with notification turned on. This is Bo, and thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.